Well, Kiki may have been kinky, but this cocktail isn't. Hello and welcome to Intoxicated Masculinity. If it's Wednesday, we have a cocktail video coming at you. Today we are going to talk a little bit first about what we were doing before. We were talking about some cocktails that were not invented in Paris or in France, but had some very French names, which actually, a brief correction, the book we're going to talk about today, which is Philip Green's Drinkable Feast, which we've talked about before, it actually insists, or seems to insist, that the French 75 did actually come from France. A week or two ago, I said that I didn't think that it did, that I think it was more likely from New York City. I'm not 100% sure, but they seem pretty sure that there was a drink just called the 75 in Paris that went back further than that. And I am not from 1925, so I can't tell you. But what I wanted to go with today is some cocktails that actually are from Paris, which is why I got Philip Green's book. Again, we've talked about it before. And the first one of those is going to be the Kiki Cocktail. The Kiki Cocktail is named after one Alice Creme, who is known sort of publicly as Kiki. She was a French model. And just sort of in this Montparnasse district, which is sort of a bohemian district with a lot of artists. She was a model for a lot of these artists. She was known as the Queen of Montparnasse. If I'm mispronouncing that, again, it would not be surprising. And I just think it's kind of an interesting cocktail, and I kind of like her story. As with many people of that era, it doesn't have a particularly happy ending. But she seemed like a really interesting character, and just, I don't know, I think sometimes people that are very much from their particular time and place, which she seemed very much like she was. She was very Parisian, very bohemian, very artsy, and I think it's good that she has a cocktail named after her. But, oh, and as far as the history of the cocktail, we think this cocktail was invented sometime around the early to mid 1920s. I'm going to guess around 1925, but that could be plus or minus several years in either direction. But now that we know a little bit about the history of the cocktail and the person who the cocktail is named after, let's get to making it and drinking it. Okay, we're back and we have ourselves some ingredients. I'm actually going to start off with the smaller ingredients first. So this calls for 2 teaspoons of simple syrup and lemon juice. I'm not going to get a teaspoon, I'm just going to do a bar spoon. So there's our bar spoon of lemon juice, and then we're going to do a bar spoon of simple syrup. Kind of seems like why bother at that point, but let's just go with it. Next we're going to toss in 2 dashes of our Angostura bitters. Or as I always say, 3 dashes where they call for 2. Because one extra dash of Ango is not going to hurt anything. Next we are calling for 1/4 of an ounce of Creme de Noyaux. I've got the Arrow, it's just a Creme de Almond. So this is just going to call for 1/4 of an ounce. So 1/4 of an ounce of our Creme de, pronunciation as you determine. This actually calls for Cointreau. I don't have Cointreau on hand right now, so I'm just going to toss in dry curacao. We're also going to toss in 1/4 of an ounce. And I think that's going to serve just fine. Alright. And we are going to finish this off with 2 ounces of our London dry gin. In this case, I'm using Noyaux Silver. I've kind of grown to like this one recently, so that's why I'm using it. And we got our 2 ounces of London dry gin in the drink. Now, we just got to get some ice in our shaker and shake this thing up. So we're going to go ahead and toss that into our shaker, give it a good pound and give it a good shake. There we go. Sometimes the shaker doesn't want to let go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and double strain this into a chilled coupe glass. These are the new coupe glasses I got to replace the old ones, and to be honest, I don't love these. They're a little too big, and they kind of sometimes make these drinks look like there's not as much volume as there should be. But we're going to go ahead and top this with a lemon twist. Go ahead and express that over the drink. Rub it along the rim. And there you go. And you have the Kiki Cocktail. That's pretty good. It's kind of got an interesting development. So this is one of those drinks where we're adding a lot of ingredients, but we're not adding very much of any of them. So this is primarily just a London dry gin cocktail that's sort of being altered a little bit. We're adding a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of citrus, a little bit of almond, and a little bit of orange. I think that's pretty good. Again, this isn't going to be bowling you over with flavor. Again, this is basically gin that's being altered a little bit. You're getting the citrus. You're getting the orange. I'm not getting a ton of bitters on this. And I think this creme de almond is just coming through as a little bit of sweetness. I think this is one cocktail. This might actually benefit from just a little bit more sweetness. So I'm going to toss in just a second Barspoon. See if that makes any difference. I think that brings the flavors out a little bit better. I think I'll change the description on this. I think if you're making this at home, maybe go for like 1/4 of an ounce instead of the 2 teaspoons they're talking about. And I think that's gonna kind of pull the cocktail together a little bit better. But yeah, I feel like I'm in Paris in the 20s, and that could be good or bad, depending on your perspective, I suppose. But on that bombshell, I want to thank everyone for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good drink, and have a good day.